Hey folks, John Gelfian following up on the extreme beyond anti-Semitic hate inflicted against my family. Persisted for well over 3 years. Following 3 years IP theft, haven't been able to speak to my now forced ex-wife. Youngest son, 1 since, who's now in a severe critical state. And this followed 3 years IP theft, at which point I have just been absolutely destroyed, as has my family, through our court system, through beyond inhuman attorneys, and false convictions, forced divorce, forced massively conspired bankruptcy, acknowledgement in the IP theft sent to the main escalator in discovery, that being my partner's wife, and my ex-wife was on this as well, and how important it is to remain silent. Again, with the forensics, with the IP theft acknowledged, and we get into the forensics. We can talk about on my own attorneys sabotaging my forensics on the utterly repugnant planted child pornography filed and dropped. But not only do they know the porn was planted, they know I can prove who planted it, and are protecting a pedophile, which I'll get to in just a second here. But again, the sadistic date targeting, as I'm threatened on my birthday with the much needed bankruptcy in our corporation, and here's my partner accused of being a pedophile, already convinced my children and others that he is, in preparation, just as the repugnant planted child pornography is going to be used to again leverage the corporation as the hate group, who, as I showed before, was leveraged with the informing of the FBI as if they were seeking retribution. That has so empowered this group. And quite contrary to that and all the acknowledgments, believes the FBI and Republicans are after him. He purchased a gun. I've talked about the gun used to take away my Second Amendment rights so despicably, with claims that I bought the gun to commit suicide and then wanted my own son to kill me with it. My own son. The acknowledgement again, the FBI so acknowledged that even deferred criminal matters in our divorce to them. And I would just ask you, when has our government ever interjected themselves into a divorce? So no, while the all-in redirected informing has been as if it was my personal case, never was, regarded other matters. And this is all building into the bankruptcy. The sadistic psychiatrist in deep collusion, who was willing to cheat the mental health system in order to beat wrongfully obtained sanctions, cheating our legal system with sick claims of delusion, and willing to do this as just such a good friend. Very rare that he would be so willing to lie like that. And when I refused, ended up putting a lot of weight into being forced into filing the bankruptcy, as my parents were helping to fund matters and not happy. I was turning down their suggestions. Also, in parallel with this, want to show back in 2021, trying to deal with the criminal matters like we talked about that were deferred to matters for the FBI to address, as I showed prior. But all the way back in 21, and then again, still trying to deal with the savings, where my kids were so convinced with the $30K I deposited from my parents 3 weeks prior and had made some withdrawals, and has been so devastating as they've redirected everything against me, all the pain, suffering, and torture and inflictions. I explained to my son the checks were in there, came back, oh no, I got screenshots. That's how sick these people are. That's the manipulation, and it is unacceptable. The contact order, false claims. I was banned from my children, and as you can see right here, when they threatened the permanent protection order, protective order, got to have a temporary order first. So you see that in February 22, and you can see only did a temporary, never did a permanent. Lies, 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 as they were used to force the divorce and the bankruptcy. And again, my children so manipulated, just like with the fraud therapist, who again, court had no right to place as a barrier between my children and I. And is not even a qualified healthcare practitioner, I explained all that before, but then going back, filing a divorce on my dad's birthday, or bankruptcy, and the proof of claim on the IRS, the tax penalties that still had not been paid, and then the back and forth with bankruptcy being discussed by the divorce attorneys who had no business doing it. I had a flat fee bankruptcy attorney. Why they spilled tens of thousands working on the bankruptcy is not okay. It's not okay at all, people. I don't know how people tolerate this. But again, dropping the TPO at this point with the threat of the permanent protection order. And again, it never even been filed. Just like the lies with the tax penalties. You can see that they were signed on 5/16 by my ex-wife. Didn't get around to me till February of 23 next year, as they kept continuing to tell me, beginning 3 days later, that she refused to sign the amendments. And she had that whole time. Enlisted a CPA, talking about how she's unwilling to do this. And then, of course, all the work that the tax attorney that they hired went out of scope, going through all the stuff with the narcissist lawsuit. That's all the narcissists being named right there. And again, had no business in there. They were supposed to do the 2017 or 2018, 2019 tax amendments and then file my taxes, which I was charged a fortune for, never were filed. So again, here, never wanted to bring my family harm. Everything's been redirected at me, going so far beyond the child alienation. Blaming. The false adversarial complaint used to steal the 1.3 million POC embedded in it, used to steal my home. You can see here it's from the bankruptcy attorney with the false POC that was then dropped, and then my home stolen from my family. The 1.4 million for the home went somewhere. Needs to be addressed. Also needs to explain why they insisted on the bankruptcy in the first place. Without the AP, I would have had obviously enough to pay the debt. You got here just more and more delays. The 2009 taxes, child pornography the same year. Again, can tie it back to being redirected as well with the corporation being framed as the hate group. And you can see here, billed for taxes. They claim to have filed, as you'll see here, filed my 2022 taxes. And you can see here where payments paid to date, nothing's been paid. Department of Revenue, taxes, penalties, never paid. Only people paid are the attorneys. So this was the filing right here to prepare my taxes. Supposedly filed through 2022, never been filed. And again, the tax penalties never paid. Only payments to attorneys. And I don't even know half those attorneys, who they even are. Withdrawing the POC after I got the notice, the threat, seize my property over the 62K threshold. Now puts me at risk of having my passport seized, and matters just need to be addressed. You have to file the forgeries. These are the pleas so sadistically used to force my misdemeanor trespass plea based on the months of child alienation obstructed and the substitute DA misinforming that my children were on the witness list. And then here with the DA's longest divorce these DAs have ever worked on. Need to know if that's true before I move forward as far as my feelings with the DA or with the forgery, if they're getting played. Again, never wanted a divorce, but my wife made it clear she did. Ex-wife, I put together a 32-page document. I never wanted a divorce. Couldn't be more clear than this email right here. But again, it's 31 other pages. And Mom never wanted a divorce. So, did she want a divorce? Didn't she? This gets into the family alienation with the false witness list claims, going back again a year after, and following my dad's birthday, switched to the MPO and the witness list. All lies, 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 lies. Now saying they're witnesses, lies, lies, lies. And then again, the substitute DA falsely claimed they were on the witness list at my hearing. And then 6 weeks later, after being alienated through a court order from my children for having bringing up the witness list, acknowledging they never were on the witness list, and it has never been addressed. So again, a forced misdemeanor trespass plea to stalking, false allegations, and it's just beyond human. Ruining Annapolis graduation, my dad's proudest moment of his life. Again, redirected at me, blamed. I talked about the sadistic stealing of my tools and everything at this last civil assist, where the first thing I saw was my family heirloom, broken military hero veteran's eagle. You can look him up, John Fitzrandolph, Civil War. And if you saw the look on my son's face when I saw this, these people would go down as traitors. And I want to remind you again that this fraud family integration therapist is known by my public defender in the court system, and would like to ask you, how many people has he already destroyed, this child abuser, and how many more are you going to allow? So I will keep you posted as I move forward with the FBI and get this resolved. This is not acceptable, people. It's very frustrating that we tolerate this in this country, but this is America, and can't be allowed. And can't be abusing court systems like this.